Welcome to Getting to Know the Garnet. I'm your host, Brandon Hodnett, and today I'm joined by women's tennis head coach Jeremy Loomis. Jeremy has been the head coach since the 2002-2003 season and has racked up more Centennial Conference wins than any other coach in the conference, with 143 wins in Centennial action. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you, Brandon. I'm excited to do the Get to Know the Garnet. Looking forward to it.
So, Jeremy, take us back to how you ended up at Swarthmore as a coach, and your interaction with Swarthmore prior to becoming a coach here.
Right. So I started coaching here in 2002, 2003, but my history with Swarthmore predates that. When I was in high school, I had a few friends from tennis who had joined the Swarthmore team, had a great time, really talked very well about the school. So in high school, I called up Coach Mullen, tried to see if I could come in for a visit. And he showed me around the school, talked about the team. It was before we had really indoor courts. So he talked a little bit about the winter schedule with like squash. So it was a little bit different. But actually, I loved the campus. I loved what it was about. So I did apply actually in high school. I ended up being at the University of Maryland over there, but it was definitely an imprint in my mind to remember. And when I was at Duke University in 2001, 2002, we had a really strong program at Duke, but heard about the women's tennis program, wanting to have a new coach. It was going to be full time. It looked like it was a team on the rise, and called up the administration, tried to see if there was a chance to come up for a visit, and they invited me up. What I saw was not just what I remembered of being a beautiful campus, having outstanding facilities, a great reputation, but also the indoor tennis center was such a great thing to see, that I could see how where Swarthmore was going to in the future, and I felt like I couldn't really pass up that opportunity.
So I want to rewind even further, Jeremy, and find out from you how you got started playing tennis. I know I've seen you play noon hoops, so I know you're an athlete. When did like tennis become the focus for you?
Wow, that's really even predating hoops. I love noon hoops, so that's for sure. But what I remember growing up, I grew up in Columbia, Maryland, which is a suburb of Baltimore and DC. My parents lived in New York City, and we moved down to the suburbs in the 1970s. That was like the heyday of tennis. My parents fell in love with the sport, and so I, just being a kid that loved the ball, I guess, was someone who would sit outside. My parents would play tennis. I would just hit a tennis ball on the string, and I probably started that, really at an age of like 2.5, 3 years old. I don't remember too many times not having a tennis racket in my hand, especially in the summertime. And I would play on the wall, would play with anyone who would hang out, and so that just kept on going through competitive tennis and junior tennis, and then college and afterwards.
So there's a couple different styles of play, a couple different grips, and swing motions and everything. Can you take us through those, and which one do you in particular like playing with, and what are some of the professionals, what some of the differences in their style?
That's a long question there, Brent. So I will try to make it succinct here. So what I remember is that I would play like any professional I saw on TV, and I started with the Bjorn Borg Dane Pro. So I tried to play with the wood racket with a Western grip. I tried to mimic that style. I ended up getting some tennis elbow at a younger age, so I had to switch that into more of I then tried to be like McEnroe and do it like a continental grip with forehand, backhands, try to come into the net a lot. I have now kind of suffice to say that I kind of have that ubiquitous semi-Western Eastern forehand grip that can allow me to hit topspin, can hit slice, and then I just have a normal two-hand backhand. Though with older age, the two-hand backhand, sometimes it's nice to switch to one hand. I don't have to quite move as much. Hit that slice one-hand backhand. I consider myself an all-court player, a student of the game. If I feel like a serve and volley day, then I will serve and volley. If I feel like grinding it out, if I feel like my fitness level is up, then I will certainly grind it out there. And definitely like I'd like to have that as a student coming in, someone who is open-minded to try out a host of different styles.
Did you ever have any, speaking of John McEnroe, did you ever have any McEnroe-esque meltdowns on the court?
Well, I won't go there with the McEnroe meltdown. Definitely as a competitive athlete and a tennis player, we all have our moments of deep frustration. I try not to do it when people are watching.
So a couple more questions about the pros. Who would you consider, in all the tennis that you've watched, this can be either in person that you've seen or on TV, who would you say is the best male and female tennis player that you've seen in your lifetime?
So, I mean, in person, all the professionals, when you watch them up close, is just like in other sports. It's a different game than watching them on a TV screen. When I was growing up watching, watched Ivan Lendl a few times play some awesome matches, and he really took a new level to fitness, to being able to really carry yourself on the court. I thought that was just an amazing person to watch. That being said, I've seen Roger Federer practice, and watching him smoothly just hit every shot out there is always just a pleasure to watch him gracefully hit all the shots. I would say with female tennis players, got a chance to go to the U.S. Open last year, up close, watch Madison Keys. She hits the ball so hard. I think this year, I think she has a good shot of winning the Open. So that's, you hear it here first. Madison Keys is my pick for U.S. Open glory.
Okay. Would you say she's the best all time that you've seen on the women's side, or?
Oh, as far as like all time, no. I mean, watching Serena Williams, even on the TV screen, you can just see her power. She completely dominates the game. I think you take her game against any other in the history, you should bet on Serena.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So you've been to the U.S. Open. Have you been to Wimbledon? Have you made that trip? Any other spots on the Grand Slam tour?
So my Grand Slam bucket list, we've done U.S. Open, of course, and Wimbledon. We did 2 years ago. Went out there, watched some great matches in the beginning. Got the feel of the atmosphere there at the All England Club. Definitely on the bucket list is the Australian Open and the French Open. Hopefully, once travel restrictions are eased up, we'll be able to do that. Some great tournaments that everyone should go to is the Indian Wells in California, and even some of the East Coast. I have a special place in my heart is the City Open in Washington D.C. It used to be the Legg Mason Tennis Classic, and I actually played at the Legg Mason Tennis Classic in doubles back in the day. So I did get my professional experience with that.
Very cool. All this, there's such a variety of courts on different, spots on the Grand Slam. How big of a difference does it make playing on clay versus grass versus, your hard courts or whatever?
Yeah, I think that's one of the unique things about the sport is that those surfaces really bring out can bring out your deficiencies and also can accentuate what you do well. So, for example, a hard court where we play all the time in college tennis, someone who has even the speed of the court is important, but if someone has hard flat shots, can come to the net, that can be really important to have. But someone can also grind in the hard court as well. But if someone goes on the clay court, it'll slow the pace of the points down. You have to be very agile to be able to slide on the court and be patient. If you're on the grass court, to be able to come to the net, be able to have your slice shots, to be able to have a good serve, that's going to be crucially important for that as well. All the surfaces are a lot of fun. I would say my favorite right now is probably the grass court. Had some good success on the grass court. It's really a unique experience. I really like it.
For whoever's watching this who hasn't seen the facilities at Swarthmore, can you describe them to us?
Sure. Swarthmore has excellent tennis resources. We have 12 outdoor tennis courts. So we have 6 that are right on campus. In your background right there, that's the Faulkner tennis courts. It's a beautiful setup for home matches and for the students to come down and practice at a venue that's right by their dorm. We have another 6 tennis courts just across campus, but it's the same type of surface. And then just down the hill, where my office is right now is at the Mullen Tennis Center, and we have 3 rebound days tennis courts. We have play site, and we have and we have that right on campus for us to utilize. So what's great about it is that it's a tennis court, it's a great surface, and also it's just on campus and a private facility. So the tennis teams do have the priority to come in, do individual workouts, have matches, and also practices at a convenient time.
Jeremy, so I want to ask you another question about your tennis journey. Looks like tennis has taken you all over the world. And I was reading in your bio about you coaching in Indonesia. Can you tell us about that experience, what that was like?
Sure. Back in the early 90s, I was a recent graduate from college. I was looking to go play some of the smaller professional tournaments first. Just came back from a trip from Hawaii, actually at a segment. Was back home training, making some money to prepare to go out again in the spring or summertime. My college coach, Coach Latta, knew of a contact who had gone to Indonesia for many years, Bill Tim, and he was looking for a coach to come over to Indonesia to stay a little bit longer than he did at the time, to help coach some of the Fed Cup and Junior Davis Cup team members over there, and also help out with some of the clinics. So being a recent grad and slogging in some hours working, and then I was thinking, boy, let me look at the map of where Indonesia is. It's definitely a place that I need to know where it was, and I took it the opportunity to go see the world. And Asia was an amazing place. It was completely different than I had imagined, and met some really fascinating people. Really took me out of my comfort zone. Learning Indonesian was going to be a little bit different for me, but I tried my best, and by the end of my tenure there, I had really made some great friends. Had some really interesting experiences in Indonesia. What a wonderful culture, a wonderful time, and definitely is something that I will always remember and always cherish. It was interesting, before internet days of really knowing where you're going, being thrown out there. Definitely had some homesickness in the beginning, but definitely would never trade it for anything.
Oh, that's great. Any other places around the world that tennis has taken you?
Yeah, sure. Definitely, going off to like, Europe. The great thing about tennis is that it's a global sport. Going to Barcelona with my team. We've gone there a couple of times to train at some of the academies there. Hopefully, we'll have the Rafa Nadal tennis camp. We'll come over here to Swarthmore in the future. So definitely want to connect with Europe some more. Gone to Brazil. Took my team to Brazil. Played some tennis over there. I definitely haven't checked off all the boxes of going to the places that I want to go to, but tennis is a global sport, so it's something in the future.
That's great. So you played and coached at Maryland, and Maryland has since gotten rid of a number of sports, including men's tennis. What was that like for you as an alum of the program, and a coach of the program? What's that like dealing with a program getting taken away like that?
It's certainly disappointing. Part of the fun of being an alum with a sports program, and I like other sports too. So if I could go back to watching a Maryland basketball game or a Maryland football game, that's what I try to do as well. But knowing that the Maryland tennis program kind of closed up its doors. I did go to the last home match in the last year. We beat North Carolina, so that was a lot of fun. And just kind of missing out on those connections to the new players that would have been part of the Maryland program. It does kind of, it sucks, and we're not the only program to have that happen. So it's something that, I know that the ITA tries to have some advocacy groups to promote the sport and to talk about, the value it has, not just for the campus, but for the community. My hope there, Brandon, is that it's not a forever thing. I'm hoping that Maryland moving to the Big Ten, to having maybe some resources that can promote tennis again. It's a great sport. The women's tennis program is still there. So, and I know that another school, Arizona State, didn't have a men's program for a long time, and they were able to reinstate their men's program. I'm hopeful that Maryland, along with other schools, will have that chance to bring back tennis. So I'm still crossing my fingers.
Yeah, that'd be good to see. Was there did you face any animosity when you went to Duke? From a
Yes.
rival ACC school.
Yes, very quickly. Yes, I definitely got a few emails about being the Benedict Arnold of the group. Yes, that was very quick. Duke, Duke is a wonderful institution. It definitely took me a little time to just to come to grips that going to another rival institution, ACC, we've always tried to compete the best with Duke, and going there though was eye-opening, and I think Duke is a reason why Duke has such great athletics. They really do things well. They do things top notch. I remember the head coach there was Jamie Ashworth, who was one of the best coaches in the country, one of the most winningest. He was one of my college teammates, one of my roommates. So having that experience, that was something that I really wanted to do as well. And being a Duke, there was no hurdle that we didn't feel like was against us to pursue a national championship. And we had some great moments, had some great matches. I was only there for 1 year, but I knew that the team was on the right track. I think that year I think we won our regular season ACC title, finished maybe 6th in the country. But the next year they were Final Four, and then just like another year after that, there were national championships. They won a national championship, and that really kind of gave me a good idea of what what a program can be like. And actually, something that, and I know that Swarthmore couldn't be in that same realm as far as Duke involvement in athletics, but I felt like there was a good balance at Swarthmore that was somewhat similar to Duke, actually.
So in your time coaching at Swarthmore, you've had the chance to coach the team to several Centennial Conference championships, several NCAA tournament appearances. I think you've coached the Conference Player of the Year 8 different times. What are some of the highlights, some of the memories that stick out to you? They can be those wins or player development, or just, team memories that stick out to you.
Yeah, wow. Sometimes when you talk about the memories, and I have pictures of right in the office over here, the 18 teams that I've had. Each one is unique and special, and has been with my journey. Definitely, the teams in the beginning of my tenure, I didn't know. I knew about Swarthmore, but I didn't know much about the team. Didn't know much about the Division III landscape. The way that they embraced me and embraced what I wanted to pursue with the team really sticks out as some great memories. Winning, beating some of the teams, especially my first year, we beat some of the conference teams that they had lost to the previous year. Beating at the time was Muhlenberg or Haverford. Those were special moments. I think like the second year when we got to the round of 16, and that was a really tough match, but we lost to Washington Lee. Some really close matches right there. That was kind of a fun one because Washington Lee got to the finals that year. I think in 2000, like moving forward, there was one year, it could have been 2013, where we were down 0-4 or 0-3 to College of New Jersey, and we hadn't beaten College of New Jersey in a long time. We were down to like the last match. Kelsey Johnston, I remember going over there because she was like the first one to really kind of get things going, and she was down like match points. And I went over there. I said, Kelsey, how you doing? And she just said, I got this. So the very demure Kelsey Johnson way. And she ripped a few forehands. And we end up winning that. Emily Rosenblum won it in the last match 5-4. That was kind of one that was really stuck out to me as like the persistence and resilience of the team. And of course, like just recently in 2019, we were down to like the last match against Washington University of St. Louis. They were a top 12 team in the country. We were unranked. We weren't supposed to win, not even come close during spring break. That was, and Elise Talley ended up winning the last match for us in a tiebreaker. That was such a kind of just a pinnacle moment for the team, just to have this rebound. And we've been nationally ranked for the last few years. They're top 25, and so the future is certainly bright. Looking forward to the future memories, but definitely, those kind of stick out. But definitely, every team has a really kind of led us to this position.
Those are some great memories right there.
Right.
Jeremy, there's some differences in the way Division I and Division III scoring works in a tennis match. Do you see Division III shifting at all to that format in the way they handle the points, or making a shift to no ad scoring, anything like that?
Right. Good question. That's a common debate in all of our conventions, actually, is switching it to a format that is comparable to all divisions. Right now, I foresee that it's still going to be not necessarily going to happen for the time being. I think there's some pros and cons to both types of formats. The format that Division I has right now certainly brings the total time on a match down to possibly like an hour and a half, not much more than 2 hours. With regular scoring like Division III right now, that keeps things going a little bit longer, but it's a little bit more traditional. I think that the regular scoring is nice because you do have a chance to come back. There's not so much that's a luck involved, but definitely when you have a deciding point as a deuce point, a net court, frame, something else, that really has a shift in the momentum. That being said, with the duration of our matches, sometimes going to like 4 hours, I don't think that's healthy for teams to be in that situation, especially if they have to travel. So finding something in the middle ground would be great. But I know that the NCAA would like to have a ubiquitous tennis type format. But we'll see. That's a TBA, in the future.
Yeah. And I'm hopeful that your athletes can get back out on the court. Hopefully by next semester. I feel like tennis is one of those sports that has some social distancing built into it already. So,
right.
Yeah, feeling positive about that.
I'm feeling positive about tennis. We've been able to, at a local club, been able to do some clinics, and knock on wood, nothing's really been going in the wrong direction, for tennis. And yeah, I hope that we'll be able to get out there with tennis and also all the other sports in the athletic department too.
Jeremy, a couple final questions for you. What's something about you that we don't know? Something fun about you?
Oh, right.
Anything.
Such an interesting question for me to go through the list. All right. Well, something about that probably nobody in the department probably knows is that. All right. So my mother is Egyptian. She was born in Alexandria. My father is actually from the Bronx. So he was born in New York City. They met in New York City. My mother is French speaking, native French speaker. So when I was born, and especially when I was in the house, it was all French, all the time. So I basically learned French before I started to really speak English. Wow. So my dual language right now is probably without practice. Whenever I see my mother, we try to speak a little French, try to here and there. But I have I definitely have a lot of languages in my family. I have family from Egypt, or it used to be Egypt, but to Israel, to France, to to Brazil to Italy. So it's a pretty multicultural background that I've grown up with.
Wow. So you still use the French occasionally with family, or?
Yeah, okay, definitely occasionally. My
Yeah.
mother's been here for a long time, so
Yeah.
if I need, and my family also has been around here for a long time. So, if they if they want to get a point across, they'll speak to me in English. But
Okay.
I enjoy trying my best with the language.
Cool. I definitely did not know that about you.
Um, um, what else? I think I had like one of the first like racquetball classes. So racquetball is a sport. I've taught a lot of different racket sport classes at
Mhm.
Swarthmore. One of the things that I picked up here at Swarthmore is I had to be a badminton coach when I first started. So learned some, played tournament badminton, doing table tennis now. So working on my table tennis game. And one year there was a couple Swedish guys from from my camp who talked to me about this sport called racquetball. So racquetball is very, very popular in Europe, and wanted to learn a little more about it. And it's a combined racket sport of table tennis, badminton, squash, and tennis.
Hmm.
So I thought that was like a really interesting. It's a hybrid sport. So you play in every category. You play 21 points, and then you add up all the points to see who's the best racket sport
Oh,
player.
wow.
I was like, this is too cool to not have here at Swarthmore, because at the time before the building of the Matchbox, there were the squash courts that were over there. So we had all the facilities right here. So I, being Swarthmore, which is great, proposed it to Harley, who was the PE director at the time, proposed it to Adam, and they said, go ahead and do a new class. So I had a racquetball class where we did 2 weeks of table tennis, 2 weeks of badminton, 2 weeks of squash, 2 weeks of tennis, and then for the rest of the time just played racquetball for the duration. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I had a racquetball tournament here. I didn't think there were too many in the country, actually, so this might have been one of the few spots. There are some racquetball tournaments in Canada, and so I'm still like I'm not sure if I'm still ranked in racquetball, but I did go there to play a tournament. Picked up pickleball also for the first time this summer. Played with Coach Box. We played our first pickleball tournament. I think we had beginner paddles, so we were able to get through the first round because Coach Box had some good ideas for like timeouts and when to like strategically to do it. But I'm going to try to improve my pickleball game too coming up.
Any final thoughts? We could talk tennis and racket sports all day, but any final thoughts that you have?
Yeah, Brandon, I think this is a great thing that you're doing for the department, and I hope that I don't take away too much from the U.S. Open right there, but I definitely think tennis is one of those lifelong sports. I think that I want to see. I think I've seen you out there a while ago, so it's been too long. We're getting out there for some cardio tennis. Noon hoops, of course, is a lot of fun, but we want to get you out there too, there, Brandon, on the tennis court.
Got to dust off the racket. Jeremy, any chance we could get you to say in French, "Have a great semester" to close out the video?
Semester. I could say "une bonne chance, Swarthmore étudiant." So good luck to Swarthmore students, and let's have a great time here on campus.